welcome to the talk itself today. I've been thinking about what should I start going through because I'm quite busy with my own life, and I think I want to do something quite easy for me, so something that I don't need to like study for like eons and eons to like talk about something. So what is really easy for me and what I really started with my practice itself, what was with a form. Some people say it's a form of Buddhism, but it's actually not. It's more like a philosophy itself, but it's really aligned with Buddhism itself, and it is Stoicism. And there is, for people who do not know what Stoicism is, it's a ancient Greek philosophy, a Roman philosophy, that has quite a lot of similarities with Buddhism. And some people even assume or speculate the fact that like Stoicism is kind of like brought forth with Buddhist ideas, and then also like is also like, you know, in Buddhism there's quite a lot of like Greek philosophical ideas too, so it's like an entire network of thoughts themselves. But there's a really good video that I put on the announcement itself on the Discord server that is done by Vox Stoica. Vox Stoica. And it is the summarized versions of Marcus Aurelius's meditations, and he goes through point by point 22 different points of Marcus Aurelius. He was a philosopher, but also the Roman emperor of the entire empire of Rome. And he had his own like small little guidebook that he, or like diary, where he note like some things that he was helping him in his life to treat life itself in the most wisest way. And there's a lot of like different things that are really similar to Buddhism itself. But I started with Stoicism, and then later on I came across Buddhism, and I was super surprised to see how many like similar things there are within the two things. But I could have an entire talk about what is Stoicism, but if people are interested in that, they can watch, of course, YouTube videos. My first YouTube video on Stoicism was done by PewDiePie itself. He did a quite a like good YouTube video about Stoicism, because PewDiePie is also quite interested in philosophy too. He also reads Stoicism and Buddhism on his free time, especially Japanese Buddhism, Zen Buddhism. But I was liking to go through the 22 different points like throughout this year, perhaps, because it's just really easy, and just compare them, like the different topics, how they also appear in Buddhism too. And the first topic that is brought in the summarized version of the Marcus Aurelius Meditations, that's only 30 minutes long, and is how to face unkindness. So the correct answer is the punch to
Yes.
show unkindness to kindness.
Yes.
Mm.
There won't be any more unkindness if you do that.
But how do you treat unkindness in general? When you are treated unkindly, how do you usually respond to that?
Well, I used to when I was younger.
Mm.
Just full on, fuck you, blah blah blah. You know, just go
Mm.
all the way. And now, it just depends on what mood I am. You try to ignore it. You have this a lot in VRChat.
Yeah.
A lot of it. And you just like even what was it, 2 or 3 days ago? One of my friends, she was getting a lot of sexual comments by some people, and you know, some people are able to defend themselves. Some people just kind of shut down. So you try to, you know, respectfully tell them like, what the fuck, you know, and then it's like, oh, you simp this, simp that. I'm like, what the fuck? Just try to be respectful, you know. So you try to be nice about it, but some people just keep on going, So sometimes what I end up doing is just not go along with it, but not go along with it, but what do you call it? Just try to make some fun with them. Not laugh at them, but just crack some jokes with them. Just so they would stop doing that weird shit. But of course, I'm not gonna fucking fight people. It's never gonna help. I don't want to get stabbed. Yeah, the best option most of the time is just ignore it. But that's difficult sometimes. Especially when they like keep doing the same shit. In VRChat and standing in front of you, keep saying it. It's really annoying sometimes. But if you say shit back, well, it's never gonna stop. You can also just block them, but that's what I want. I don't know what the hell I just said.
I understand. A lot of nothing. Yeah. So you said that you will just ignore it, or so if you cannot ignore it, you will loosen up the atmosphere itself, and not take it that seriously, or like not seriously, but like kind of like loosen up the mood itself. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah, I always try to. You know me, I always try to make things fun. At the end of the day, you just want people to have a smile. So just joke around and see, maybe they'll change through that. Some people even do. They come up to you and they're rude as hell, and then you just crack a couple jokes with them, and then they're like, oh shit, and they switch it around, and sometimes that goes well, sometimes it doesn't. It's also a lot of young people that do it, which is it's not very good.
Having the ability to change the entire mood for the better is an absolutely wonderful quality to have. So you should cherish yourself for the fact that you have the ability to change the entire course of the atmosphere if you can. It's kind of like the same as having a pool of water, and then there's ripples going one direction, but you have the entire power to change the direction of all the ripples in themselves. Because not everyone has the ability.
I am Avatar.
Yes. I have the funny power. I do the funny.
I don't know what they...
Funny element.
But it's difficult though. It's difficult with some people. Some just don't care at all. It's their entire life just to do that stuff. And if you want to do that, hey, do your thing, whatever makes you happy.
Yes.
Whatever makes you happy. It sucks that it has to be... What the hell is happening to my frames? It sucks that your happiness consists out of making other people unhappy. That, that's fucked up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, we all probably did what they're doing. We all grow up. We go back and see that shit was wrong. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that I am an angel. Of course, I sometimes do dumb shit and say dumb shit. But yeah.
How about you, Sonear?
I think we're going up to...
If you don't mind me asking.
The Bible.
I'm the shutting off one. If someone is mean to me, I'll try to ignore him until he stops. That's basically it.
But what if you cannot ignore it? Like, for example, if you're talking about a neighbor that constantly does something really annoying, like doesn't take the trash out, or is
I call the police.
Yeah.
They get the baguette.
Yeah.
I send them a gift once of breaking a baguette. Sonear went apeshit.
Bonk with the baguette. That's
I would probably just avoid it, to be fair.
But there's some scenarios where you cannot. Yeah, but there's some scenarios when you cannot. So if you cannot, like, what is it called? Ignore it, then what can you do? Or what do you do? if you don't mind me asking?
I probably just confront them with the fact that they're annoying. Present to them how I feel about it. Ask them why we do that. I know it's not a very useful tactic, but that's what I would do.
Those are quite common, especially on VRChat, like because you're in an online environment. Then also like in online too, you can just ignore it. It's really easy because like we're all like just like facades over here and just like masks, so you can just wash off like so easily just by pressing 2 buttons and you're gone. But in real life, it can be kind of hard because you might have classmates that are really annoying or are sitting next to you. Or
the thing is though,
like
if it's in a group thing and someone is, just talking shit to the entire group, for me, I'd rather have, them put the attention on me so they would just leave everyone else alone. So if you, if you block them in that instant, I mean, yeah, sometimes it's a lot easier. Some people just instantly block them. But yeah.
But like,
I don't.
But like, when we are talking about unkindness, the unkindness can be also something that can make you feel that you need to, how do you say, like actually revenge them for something. Like for example, like having some drama, for example, like within your friend group, and then there's like unkindness, like done in that friend group itself. Or I don't really have like any kind of good examples, but of course, like in friend groups, there's always this kind of drama.
Well, I'm not talking about just saying bad shit to my friends. Like, let's say we're just talking and someone joins and they start talking shit to all of us. I'd rather, talk with them, not in a bad way, just get a response out of them. So they would put their attention on me and would leave you guys alone.
Do you do that because you care about your
Playing Rust
friends?
for so long, you're used to it. Yes, but also because you're used to it. That's also like played a lot of toxic games, Rust, Gmod, and all the other dog shit. So you're kind of used to it. GTA. So, and some people really they shut down, and it ruins their entire night. You don't want that. You're all here you all come home from work and you just want to relax. That's why we're all here. You're not here to...
Suns Park on Twitch said that, if I pronounced their name correctly, that as people become unhappier in the world from struggles, it seems to reflect on VRChat. People harass others more and become more toxic and violent. So you can perhaps see it too, like in internet culture itself, that people come over here like anonymously and just treat people like really horribly, like in general.
Yeah, it's an attention thing, I guess. They lack and I mean, I get it. You want to get your attention from somewhere, and unfortunately sometimes it's a bad thing. I mean, can you really blame him? Of course it's bad, but they're in such a situation where they don't really know what to do, and it's the only thing they can really do, just to get attention. And I mean, a lot of the time it's young people, because I was like that back then as well. And yeah, I had, I wasn't feeling that well mentally, so I was talking shit. And so I get where they're coming from. Is it good? No, it's not. But if it helps them, I mean, just be careful who you do it towards, because some people can deal with it, some just laugh it up.
But I would like to ask you a question though about this, because before you go into something else, because have you treated other people like unkindly It seems that you have also
Yes,
like
of
in your
course. Through my
past.
life, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when you have treated other people unkindly, you might understand where does the unkindness come from. Like, why do people treat each other unkindly?
It's different types of situations. If you're in a group setting, you're probably doing it just, to look cool. Because I did that back then, and probably when I'm drunk, I still do it. If you're alone, it's probably you got into an argument, and you just don't want to lose that argument, just for I don't know.
Of course, that's a really good point, that from a situation, from a person, from a culture, from a point of view, and from a time, it always changes. It's always like different reasons why. But I would say that what is common within all of these is that a person lacks a sense of understanding and seeing things from others' perspectives too. So when someone is treating another person unkindly, usually it is because they do not understand what kind of impacts they can have within their own words themselves. And that's what I have been also seeing within my own unkindness too, that it was quite a surprise to see how like unkind I could be, even though me not recognizing how unkind I was. Just saying some small little joke or something like that, but like actually can have huge impacts on other people. But it's because you do not understand like that's how we are conditioned. We are all separate people and we are not all one. Like in physical and mental state all the time. But that's kind of the root problem of why people treat each other really horribly, because people just lack understanding. But then also there's hatred and greed and other things too. But the core of all of it is like delusion of like not understanding what is actually going on. Was it a bad call? Papa call?
It was some IT related shit.
Okay.
But coming back, by the way, to because you said that some people just don't see the way, don't really think about what happens to the person when you say that stuff. For me, it really changed when I start, like, let's see, I think I've told you this before, but when you see someone walking down the street and you just think like, you think about yourself and you wonder, like, you see all the things you've been through, all the things going on in your head, all the things around you, your family, this and that, things are going there, blah, blah, blah. It's a massive web of things. They're going through that as well. They have the same stuff going on. And that's when I really started, like, what do you think if someone would say that to you? How long would that effect last? There's a lot of, you don't know what someone is going through at that point. You don't know. And whatever you say could have a massive effect on them.
Yes.
Because they could be going through some dog shit, fucked up shit. Or they could be having an amazing day and you just come by and ruin it. And, then they have that memory, because if it's one of their best days they ever had, and you come by and you just say some fucked up shit, of course they're going to remember the really good day, but they're also going to remember the bad shit that happened at the end. So it's ruining a memory as well. You can have a long-lasting effect on people just with a simple word.
Yes.
And that's what people fail to realize, is that is another human being with the same stuff, or well, the same things going on in their brain, just like you.
That's very true. Like, I was just saying that not understanding the other people's point of view is like the root cause of like all of this, and that also like kind of hinders also on the same topic too, that like you do not understand how much like impact you can actually have within your own actions that you take within your life. Like there can be moments that entire decades are made. Like there can be like actual like seconds, and entire decades are made beyond those couple of seconds because of someone said something to someone else, and because of that, like for the next decade, the person has changed completely. On Twitch,
simple example.
just quick on Twitch, a person asks that the same person, Science Parks, that it's I have dyslexia, and I don't English is not my English is not my first language, but I hope I'm saying it correctly. But it seems that they're asking the question that like, why does it seem that like the world is increasing in this kind of delusion of like often people not understanding each other? And I would say that it's not and yes, it's kind of like yes and no. It kind of depends, because it's in certain areas people are becoming more and more less understanding, but thanks to internet you can be also more understanding, because you can understand different cultures and different people and different environments and different family structures. You can have a better understanding like where are people coming from when they're having some kind of hatred. For example, like people who like harass women like online, like you can actually nowadays quite easily study it like on YouTube, just watch some really good videos about it. And but then also like the internet itself makes us more separated, because it's much easier for you to have this kind of facade and just hide behind something, and you cannot like be found out really. And so like it's kind of like it depends where you're hanging out. If you're hanging out in 4chan, of course, like you can also
that
has,
is bringing out something.
yeah, but it also like impacts you. Like it's not only that you impact others, but others impact you. It's this entire web of things. And then also like that's a really good like thing that you said, that I also don't mind like if you people do not want to meditate today, if you don't feel like it, we can just have the entire hour of a talk itself. It's a really fun talk to have itself. I don't mind it, but free feel to leave if you want to. But I would say that it's a really good notation to see that like you have impacts on other people, but then also like the people who are like, how do you say, unkind to others, the unkindness didn't come from nothingness. It is on some causes. Some causes have to appear. It's kind of like a chemical like reaction. You have to have certain kind of chemicals to appear within a person to this kind of unkindness to come forth. So there has to be the right situation and right time and right kind of history and like previous encounters with previous emotion and thoughts and family history and so on that brings this forth. So all people who are unkind, they always have like things that are beyond their own life that makes them unkind. It's not completely on their own fault. Is that kind of true?
Yeah. They're just trying to figure things out. They're trying to find ways, because they're most likely in pain mentally, and they're trying to figure out ways on how to lessen the pain, and that could be one of the ways. It's not a good way, but if it lessens their pain, yeah. I mean, it's a road to. It's probably a road to feeling happier, because eventually they will probably figure out, you know. You just have to. Oh fuck! You just have to be careful.
But that's a good quote, that like that it can be a route to happiness itself. I would like to add to that if the person understands later on the hard way that they have been unkind, and they can actually change their own course after that. But it's always like that leads to a person into a course of like coincidences and luck itself, if they are able to understand this. Like first they have to understand that they have been unkind and they have practicing unkindness itself, and then they have to have the correct kind of no, well, the most wisest kind of reaction to that, what kind of can lead to a change in their own persona, or like personality itself, that they can be less unkind in the future. But there can be multiple scenarios where the person just doesn't understand it, and if they understand it, then they have a unwise kind of reaction to that. That's why you always have an option when you are treated unkindly, and you understand that their other person's unkindness. If you put yourself in empathy, you put yourself in their shoes, you can practice kindness towards them, even though that they're unkind to you. I forgot like already, like, you know, the teaching from Jesus himself, like, you know, when he got slapped on the, what is it called, like the heel itself. It's like a classic.
Oh, I told him the ass.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, just turn your other cheek. But if you treat unkindness with kindness, like on a consistent basis, at some point the person who is unkind, they cannot be unkind for like eternity, because at some point they will realize that, like, damn, I've been unkind, and like this other person has been just responding with kindness, and like they can use that as inspiration. But not maybe everyone can agree with that. There of course are people who disagree with that.
It is difficult though. But if you're able to do it, you could really help out someone. Because they're probably not getting any help from anywhere.
That's very true. Especially online. Like some people over here who just treat like others like garbage, or like just are toxic in general. They might be in circumstances where they actually cannot get any kind of help, and then also they don't understand how to get help, and they haven't been treated, and they haven't been taught how to get help itself. So if you're able to even help them, like in some kind of way, the help can be harsh or unharsh. Sometimes it has to be like, you know, hey, like, buddy, like, just take care of yourself, and like just stop this kind of behavior what you're doing, because it's not. I'm saying this because I care about you. And like that's where it can actually come from, like become more easy, is to actually have deep care for all kinds of people who you meet in your life, no matter who they are. So even if they are unkind, if you treat them with kindness because you actually care about them and you want the best for them, that can change you as a person quite a lot. Does that make sense?
But it also is Yeah. But it's also difficult. If it's a single person that's doing it, it would be a lot easier of, you know, being kind to them. If it's a group of people doing it, then just forget it, because they're just gonna, like, you're trying to be kind to them, and then they're gonna start the other people, and then they just keep trying to one up each other, trying to be rude. That's just not gonna work, because they don't want to seem like weak to their friends who are doing it. So if it's a group doing it, you just forget it. It's not gonna happen.
That's of course very true. Of course there can be people, and there are people.
Yeah.
There are people who can actually
surround yourself with.
Yeah, there can actually be people that can actually be kind towards an entire group of people, and show them that their entire behavior, what they're actually in a group for, like, is completely house of cards, and it doesn't take a lot to shake their entire, like, you know, persona, and like completely collapse their entire personalities because they're just being unkind, and that's it. But everyone has different capabilities, and it's important to you to understand that what are your capabilities, and if you're not capable even to be kind towards the people who you even love, then you need to start somewhere.
Yeah, it's probably just figuring out their morals. Just trying to explore it. Some people just don't have morals, or they just think. I mean, they just don't think like, you know, everyone thinks about something the way, you know, differently. And maybe to them that seems like a normal thing to do. Hey.
but kindness is also like unkindness is also much more broader than just like the things that you also see online or like over here in VRChat, because it can be also like cheating, it can be actually lying, it can be committing sexual misconduct, it can be not being a trustworthy person and so on. Because like you can be, for example, in a relationship where a person cheats on you, and that is unkindness also, and how a person responds to that, it can also, that's also a really different ballpark itself. But having the same kind of response in that kind of scenario too helps it much more. But I think that there's quite a lot of people who would like do the same acts on other people and like as revenge because of like how the other people did. I don't know, like if you ever get the kind of feeling like if you would be cheated or something like that, you would like, you know, cheat on your other person or something like that.
Cheating is something I would never do. Just no, it's for me at least. When I get attached to someone, I'm attached to them. Plus, when I even I just cannot just do things to people like and you know, you could fuck, how do I say this?
Take your time.
It's difficult. You want to try to be careful.
Yes.
For me, I need to have a lot of feelings for someone to be able to do something with them. So plus for me, I forget a lot. Yeah. So if I would lie about things, I would forget my lies. So I'd rather be honest and then just deal with the backlash.
So treating on
like, that's also
treating the scenario with honesty
morals.
is kind of good, isn't it?
Sometimes though, I mean, you also have to think sometimes it might be better to lie, but that really depends what it is. You could be lying for a good reason. There's good reasons to lie. There's also bad reasons to lie. But it's always important to just, you know, think about your morals. What is the way you want to live life? You know, I don't know.
No. You're aiming at the right thing. I think that like it's important that like, you know, before you even do these kind of actions, like you understand that like what is like your actual like moral basis, and what do you like actually, how do you say, live by this entire like your earthly existence itself. Because we are only going to spend here an X amount of time, and we are not going to be here for an infinite amount of time. And how do you respond to the difference, like what is like your moral stance on different ideas, and what is the core of your own life itself, and understanding that, and then understanding it, like when you understand that first, then you know like if doing XYZ is the wisest, like for example lying itself, because sometimes lying can be good, but then we are talking about things that it can also like be bad at, but or like there can be a situation where lying can make an outcome that you actually want to have, but it comes with a price. Like in Stoicism and of course in Buddhism, there's multiple different things that they talk about unkindness and how to treat unkindness, but they both go with the same flow of understanding the other person, because in both philosophical ideas it is understood that like the core is beyond the other person's own life and it comes from somewhere, and treating unkindness with kindness is much more helpful than doing the same acts themselves. in Marcus Aurelius's meditations, he says that I think so. At least in the YouTube video itself, what I'm quoting at the moment, it says that that it's important for you not to become like your enemy. Isn't that true?
Yeah. But I just need to think like having an enemy, you know?
Mm.
Just,
Yeah, I remember as a kid, like when I was like
well,
on
back
my
then,
first,
yeah, everyone was
yeah.
an enemy.
yeah. But when I
They were
was
all ops.
7 years old, and I saw how kids like my other classmates were treating each other like unkindly because they did something unkind, like their classmates for them, and then they did the unkindness again. At only like 7 years old, I already understood that there's no point like doing the unkind action itself and like doing the same thing as your enemy, because like the problem is the action itself, is not the person who's doing it, it's the action itself. And there's still some people who have struggles with that kind of idea, but it's much better to learn that, like at least later on than never, that sometimes doing the same acts as your enemy, it doesn't like do anything else than just prove the point that you are not stronger than them. You are actually just as weak as them.
Yeah, but at least for me, when I was young, I just didn't realize that. Because again, I grew up in really toxic games. You either go with it or you just get fucked.
So how did you like understand it? Like when did you notice that do you have some kind of scenario or some kind of like a memory where you remember that, hey, maybe not being unkind is that like the best idea in this scenario?
It's not just, I think I remember, but it's because of something else that happened that I started more thinking about other things. There's some personal stuff, but
you don't have to be super
like,
personal if you don't want to.
It's fine. It's fine. 4 years or so ago, I was really depressed, and to a point where I normally don't like to talk about that stuff, and not a lot of people know that stuff. You don't really want to do that, tell people. But it got to a point where I was like, I can't do this shit anymore. So I told my parents, and I went to therapy. And there you learn other stuff. For example, for me, I would always find excuses to to not do things. And some other stuff, and just because of that, you start thinking more about. You think more about that, but that also helps you think more about other stuff. And
what do you mean by
kind of
that?
see in life. Well, in the therapy, they made you think about, why you were not doing stuff. It's because of constant excuses. You could be doing it, but you're just making up excuses. And because you think more about that kind of stuff, think for reasons why. It made me realize as well that, I'm lost. I'm so fucking lost. I don't know, it just made me think more about other stuff that I need to fix in life.
Well, was it more that it made you realize the nature of your own persona itself?
Well, I always try to blame other things.
Yeah.
Like, I would never blame myself. I always tried, it wasn't me. And at that point you start realizing, wait, it is me, and it's my fault.
Yeah.
And and then you see what you're doing wrong, but then you also see other people doing it, and you kind of like, oh shit, I'm a dick, and you start to think, of course I will never be perfect. You will just end up hurting people. There's no way around it. You can never make everyone happy. You will all, and I have done some stupid shit, and I've hurt people. I'm not happy because of it. But it's important that you realize that you don't dump shit. And it's also important that if you have the possibility to do it, to talk with the person about it. At least own up to your stuff. Because we're all humans. We do dumb shit. But it takes balls to own up to it.
Yes, and admit that you're not
And that's
perfect.
what I appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be saying a lot of horseshit towards me. But if you come up to me, you can apologize and all, I appreciate that.
I want to also remind on that people who tend to blame others usually miss the fact that the person who has to be blamed is themselves. But it's also vice versa for some people, because for some people they only blame themselves, but they haven't realized that they're not like always they're not always to blame for the things that are around them. So if, like for example, for me, like I have been multiple scenarios in my childhood where I've been blaming myself, even though that the actually person to be blamed, there's actually no one to blame, because like things are beyond our causes, and it's an entire web of things within the entire universe itself. So it's kind of like trying to say like what to blame is kind of like saying like what is the string on a spider's web that puts the entire spider's web on the tree itself. It's none of them. Like it's kind of like all of them. So there's never like a person to blame itself, but to understand that there is things that are beyond you to so to speak, that have causes on you, and then also things within you that have causes on you, is highly important. Do you mind if I ask you, Sonear, that if you have anything to add? On the thing that that what do you think is the wisest way to respond to, what is it called, unkindness, based on all talk?
I would still think it's appeal to rational, like just showing to the person being unkind, like what they're doing. Maybe like making themselves making themselves ask the question of why they're doing it.
That's very good.
Appeal
That's very good.
to reason.
Yeah. Because then they can see the nature of their own mind itself, reflecting, becoming a mirror to them. Yeah. Makes them think they're gonna go like kind of like a monkey who's like Yeah, thinking emoji. Yeah, why did I treat women like this? Why did I do that? It's highly interesting.
Yeah, why?
But it's also important for people to understand, well, there's multiple different important things, but I would say that it leads you to a better life if you understand that the unkind things that happen to you and other people around they can become this kind of like untangled emotional like scenarios within your own mind where they can start linger on you, and you start grabbing on them and holding on to them, like the things that were done to you, like someone was unkind to you, for example, like yeah, your parents or
They're
a school.
unkind.
Yeah. We start having already like fights in here. Let's go. I'm
Yes.
just just waiting for the BBE
Teacher.
to become over here. Let's fucking go. But yeah, so for example, for me, like I had an entire huge thing within my own life that I was always blaming a person, like because of who I was and what was wrong with me and my entire childhood. I was kind of always blaming one person for that and holding on to that idea itself, like grasping it really tightly. But it's the same what I was talking on the art of letting go on the talk, where you have a stick, a really heavy stick. It's heavy only when you hold on to it and really tightly. But if you let it go and you drop it on the ground, the stick is no more heavy because you're not holding on to it. And now you can do whatever you want with the hand itself. But it's also, you can apply that to your own ways that people have treated you unkindly, because there can be scenarios within your own life where people have treated you unkindly, and then you have an entire trauma within your own mind for multiple years. And it's important to understand that those things can be let go of. And it's much more
Yeah,
healthier.
that stick,
But yeah, go
stick
on.
example, that I've used it. It has really helped me. And I've
Yes.
also told other people about it. So it's a really good example, actually.
Yeah. It's by
I don't think I can
Australian monk.
tell, well, not with the stream, but I can't really tell in what example I used it, because that might come back on me. But I've used it, and it's really helped me. It is difficult.
Yes.
It's very difficult to just do it. Sometimes you have to.
But
Sometimes you have to.
even at the start of Dhammapada itself, it's one of the most read like Buddhist texts themselves, like holy text itself. At the very start of it, it has text on the grasping onto things that says that it just says in quotations that they overpowered me, they overstruck me, they took from me, and I think they say it says like that, like these kind of quotes that some other people did some bad stuff to me. But people who harbor these kind of thoughts, they will not steal their hatred. But people who have these kind of thoughts of like they overpowered me, they stole from me, and they were unkind to me, people who do not harbor this and let go of the thoughts themselves, they will quench their own anger and become more peaceful. It's really hard, but I have also noticed it within my own life too, that when you are met with unkindness throughout your own life, and it can lead to really difficult mental states and start blaming others and so on, it doesn't, like, you get this kind of like flame within you that it just burns on and on and on and on. And if you have like a person who's unkind to you and you just ignore them, they still have the fire within them. But if you actually are able to show them like a direction where they can actually let go of this fire at some point in their life, that can be extremely helpful and make the world a little bit more peaceful place itself.
Yeah, just put them on the right track.
But I think
Just
that
let them
that's,
think about it. And,
but nothing can make them think more about it than just reflecting who they actually are. Just like as
Yes.
Sonear said, like, you know, just becoming a mirror, because like if they say something and then you repeat what they're saying and asking that, is this the person who you want to be, like in general, or is this the person who you would admire to be?
Because at the
That can make them
the
think.
end of the day, they still have to just they have to see what they're doing wrong, because otherwise, you know, they can't learn from it and they can't change it. So it's indeed a good thing. Like, why are you doing this? That is indeed a good thing. You know, it makes him think. Might not instantly make him change, but it makes him think about it, and it's a road. Again, it's a road to changing.
Yes, and everyone needs to start somewhere, because like it's, of course, you cannot change in one day. Like just having a small little current going somewhere else can help a lot on the
Things
long
take
run.
time.
Yeah, things take time. That's very true. But it's really important to understand that your task is to be good, no matter what other people do. No matter how much shit you get on your back, your task is to be good. In all scenarios. Isn't that true?
I mean, good, you know, sometimes some people see good as something else. So it's again about your own morals.
Yeah.
Because what is good to you is not good for someone else.
Of course.
You could be doing something good for someone else, but it could be really bad for you. It could also be the way around. So it's difficult. That's why, you know, it's important to think about stuff, and that's you learn. That's, you know, the way you go through life. You learn.
That's very true.
And of course, you make mistakes on the way to learning. But if you learn from your mistakes, I guess.
But these things take time for all of us to learn. So even for me too, like talking about these things, I will come across scenarios where I will have the option to be unkind. And all of us will have the option to be unkind. Almost every day we can have options where we can be unkind. So it's important to be mindful. And that's why practicing meditation can help a lot. Because then you're more mindful of the mental states what you have, and if a thought arises that is unkind or not, and do you act upon it or not, and do you allow it to exist or not, do something else. The hour is almost up, so we have 3 minutes up, so I would like to wrap up what we just today talked about. We also have a person coming in, I think so, perhaps.
Right on time.
Yeah, but it's just
We'll
perfectly
put
for the
on
summer, summer itself.
my
Because
racing Crocs. There we go.
Wow, damn! Can you show
Can
them
go
for
really
the
fast.
stream? Can you show them for the stream?
Well, they don't see it.
Yeah.
Look at my Crocs. Look at that. Look at that. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. He's how old are you again? Hello.
Who, me?
Yeah, how old are you?
I will be 24 in 3 months.
Damn.
Hee
Hi.
indeed.
Indeed. Yeah, we are just wrapping up for today. We have been talking just today because like there were no people who actually wanted to meditate. So, but I don't mind it. It's really nice. But I was just about to summarize what we have been talking about today, and you came perfectly for the summarize itself, because it's almost like exact hour, whatever, like what we have been talking about, like 10 p.m. Central European time zone. Yeah. So today we were talking about how to react to unkindness, because all of us are come across unkindness from others and from ourselves, and we were going through some ideas shared within Stoic philosophy and then also in Buddhism itself, and things that you can see in both philosophical ideas, but then also not only in these but maybe in multiple different religions too, because I can also recite some verses from Quran too, I think so, and then also from Christianity too, that if a person is rude to you, or like rudeness itself and unkindness itself, it comes from the fact that not understanding itself. You don't have a clear picture of how much impact you can have on other people. So it's like, as Rovester said, like you can actually like completely change that other person's life with a couple of words. And entire decades can be just made with a couple of words. And the people who are rude, they do not understand how much power they can have within their own minds. That's why it's important to have compassion towards them, because they are kind of like blind to their own capabilities and how they're treating others. And we all are unkind at some points, and we all do practice that. Oh, hello. Just your mic is getting up, but
Sorry.
yeah, no worries. Just letting you know. In the both philosophical ideas too.
I'm fixing it, my bad.
Yeah, no worries. In the both philosophical ideas too, you have the idea that having empathy for them, but then also understanding that your task is to be pure and your task is to be kind, no matter what is the circumstance, what is beyond you. And of course, the kindness can be questions that, or like being good. What I said, I will maybe change that to kindness itself. Your task is to be kind. And we all kind of know what kindness is, no matter how unkind other people are. But there were multiple, very many things were said. I have a lot of things to say, but also a lot of things to understand and then later on learn too. It takes 100 times to learn and then 1,000 times to understand. So giving a moment to learn itself.
I love that you said that, because like when I find something that I enjoy or that I feel like has taught me something, especially if it's like a video or something, I will watch it 1 billion times. And people are always like, God, you watch this so much. Why would you do that? It's like, because the more that I watch it, the more I hear things in a different manner, the more that things, sit with me in a different way. And it's just like, I loved what this person said or whatever it may be. And now that I've listened to it 500 times, I might actually half understand it.
Yeah, you're kind of dumb. Yeah, kind of have to be repeated all the time to understand something. But that's also the idea behind like why some people do mantras. Mantra is like repeating like a verse, or verse that has a meaning or not, but some mantras that have meanings behind themselves. Like, for example, you can have the mantra of it takes 100 times to learn. No, it takes 100 times to learn, but 1,000 times to understand. You can have that mantra and then say it again and again and again and again and again, like in a week. But the more you say it, the more likely it is to actually go within really deep parts of your own unconscious side of your mind, and then it might pop up in a point of time when you need it the most. I have had multiple times where I have had like a really hard time facing me, and then I have just had these really long mantras that have been aiding me throughout those like scenarios themselves. Like, for example, being kind towards myself and how to let go of things that have been holding on to me. And this plays too, like, when we are talking about this, it's like you're increasing yourself, like, understanding, or like understanding these topics within your unconscious side of your mind.
That's so funny. I do that. I just related this to that, and I mean, like, I knew I did it, but I didn't realize that it was this scenario exactly. But I tend to do this thing where I'll get something tattooed on me and then, like, years later be like, oh, that's what that means.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear.
Silly.
Unkindness does not appear in a vacuum. It always appears with certain causes, like a chemical reaction. So when a person is unkind, they have scenarios beyond their own life why they're unkind. But then also when you are unkind to others, you also have things beyond your own life that why you are unkind to others. So trying to have someone to blame 100% is kind of impossible in general. So like if you later on will start regretting yourself, it's not that wise because there's no one to blame. That's what we have been talking about over here. Is there something that Roverster you want to say? To
They scared me.
That's what you want to say? Oh no!
Yes.
A haunted place.
See, that's not nice.
Mm.
I'm eating the pizza by myself. Oh, that's a lot of pizza.
But what was the take? What you like to take on to your own heart? What you would like to share with Aurum? Arium.
Just try to
It's
figure out
gold
your
in
morals. That's
Oh,
what I would
absolutely.
say.
I think I've established my morals pretty well. You know, I know how I want to behave and how I want to treat people, and how they decide to do that in their own lives is not up to me, nor is it my responsibility. I just know how I think is appropriate and the way that people should be treated, so I just try to do that, you know? And I didn't do that for a long time. I grew up being exactly the person who I was really, really angry, like all of my younger years, and I was mean for no reason, and I put all of the gross yuck that I had in me out on other people because I didn't know what to do with it. And then I kind of grew up a little bit and realized, like, this sucks. I don't like when people do that to me, and it hurts, and so why would I do it to other people? Like, that doesn't make sense. I've had a lot of reflection about those years of my life because I was really, really cruel to people for no reason. And I've been lucky enough to encounter some of them over the years since and try to offer as genuine of a sentiment to them as I could. Like, I've approached people in the streets and just been like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I really genuinely owe you an apology because I treated you in a way that you didn't deserve. And that had nothing to do with you. That had majority to do with me and not being able to realize that there was things within myself that I couldn't address yet.
Yeah, owning up, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
I
something
just
appreciate.
like what I wonder about doing that when I've had the opportunity is like, is that a selfish thing to do to try to get some kind of like, because like, I don't know, I don't think I'm necessarily in it for forgiveness. I just really, really, I just hope that I haven't left anyone with something that has impacted them in a negative way for any significant amount of time, you know?
You're probably doing it more for yourself as well, to like...
Right.
To close up the story, you know, things happened, but there's still one part missing, and that's the apology. And you probably want to just close up the story and leave things behind. That could also be why.
I don't know if it's necessarily about leaving things behind, but it's more so about being accountable for my behavior. And if someone has struggled with the nastiness that I've given them, the acknowledgement and kind of the recognition that I realized that I did something that they didn't deserve, you know, and to have that be addressed in a way, you know, in case that, like, you know, I had impacted somebody and like my words haunted them for whatever reason, or my actions or whatever it may be. Like, I just want them to know that, like, I knew I didn't forget that I had done that to them and that it wasn't right and they didn't deserve it, you know. I hope in my mind I hope that it would be something that can be a relief for them more so than for me. Because like I've come to terms with who I was. That's just part of my past. I've grown from it and I've learned a lot. But if that's still sticking with somebody, that's so wrong. That was so wrong of me, and I just want them to be seen and understand that I know that like that was fucked up of me.
Yeah, but there's only so much you can do.
Right. And if
It's
somebody
up to
chooses to
them.
hate me for the rest of their lives and send
Yeah.
me ill will or whatever, they have the total right to do that.
It's up. Yeah, that's all up to them. You can only do so much. You give them an apology. Yeah, there we go. But can you really do more? Probably, but I mean, you're not. Yeah, I don't know. So much you
I
can
mean,
do.
some of the
but,
people, there hasn't been a huge amount of times that I've been able to act on this scenario, but like a handful. And some of the times, the people don't even remember who I am. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God. Like, I'm so happy that you have no fucking clue who I am because that's for the best. Trust me. Have a great life. I wish you the best, sincerely.
Sometimes it's better to not be known. Some people actually seek for fame, but for some scenarios it's much better not to have the fame itself what you're seeking for.
Oh man. I've had a couple instances where they not necessarily that I had like any kind of like real popularity, but like my friend and I hosted a podcast online for a little while, and I've been viral once or twice for some stupid things that don't matter. And to be recognized in public by strangers is like my least favorite thing on the planet. I'm like, please let me exist in the shadows. Don't know me or talk to me. I can't imagine being famous. Oh my God, that must be torturous for some of those people.
Oh no. Now you're being already streamed over here too, but but yeah. Just let's side that for a side, but it's already 10 minutes beyond, but I would like to just quickly ask Sonear too, if you don't mind, that what is a thing that you kind of learned from today's talk that you would like to take into your own heart?
To be fair, for me, this talk is it's a bit like the talk you had about dealing with anger. I'm not a very angry person. I've probably never been like angry. I've been frustrated and stuff, but never angry. It's a bit the same with that. Is that I don't know. To be fair, I've always like I said, I always run away from arguments. I don't really like it. But if I have to, I always try to appeal to reason. So yeah, I didn't change my mind.
Yeah.
Oh.
For some people, they already mastered this entire thing itself, so they don't need any kind of help.
Okay, not master, but yeah.
But I have a business call tomorrow morning. Well, business thesis call itself tomorrow morning, so I have to start leaving the bed. I will still do the 3 bows right there, but after doing the 3 bows, I will completely leave. But you guys can chill out in the temple itself. You guys can do whatever you guys want. You can go sleep, or you can do whatever. Hello, Poppert Corn.
I have to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of came late. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, you kind of came late. We are just finishing up.
I just got off work.
Yeah.
And then I have to go back.
He's vibing.
Yeah.
He's just busting it down.
Yeah, we have.
Hey.
Damn, busting
Let's
it down.
go.
Ashra
Just thought
style.
I'd
Let's
stop
go.
in if I could.
Yeah, that's really sweet that you stopped by. Yeah, nice to have you around.
It's a peaceful place to be, you know, especially in between a very busy day. If I have a second to stop in here and just like, makes it a little less heavy.
Yeah.
Eat a beach ball. Cat.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you.
Just know that there's no need to have any kind of tension within here. We all love each other over here.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's
But
a pineapple.
Yes.
Yummy.
Mm-mm. I believe I thank you all for this. I do not have anything news. Well, what is it called? Comrade Buddha started doing guided meditation shit again on Saturdays. He was in a Thai temple or like a temple itself for a couple of weeks, but now he's back. So the scenarios or like the call, what is it called? The schedule is actually like in the normal run itself now. But if you guys want to join Comrade on Saturday, you're more free than more. How do you say?
More than welcome.
You're
yeah.
free to join.
Yeah, free to join. More
Done.
than welcome. Yeah. But he was in a temple right now, so like if you guys want, you can go and ask him about how it was and what did he learn.
Oh,
and so
that'll
on.
be so exciting to
Yeah,
speak to
yeah.
him about that. Have
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Because I haven't seen him either, like in a really long time. So I want to join him on Saturday to ask him a couple of questions. But yeah, just remember to be
Cool.
nice and kind. No matter how unkind the world is, your task is to be kind. That's what I say. And then I go to bed.
I will go ahead and bully a bunch of children right now.
Yeah.
Specifically children.
Yes.
Yes.
Teach them
And-
a lesson.
Thanks everyone for on the Twitch. What is it called? Stream. There's 3 people on the stream itself. But thank you for joining. And see you in season 2. Season 2 comes up next month. No.
Are you heckling Twitch with tomatoes?
Wait. Oh shit. There we go.